everybody, welcome back to Simple Art for Adults. My name's Erin, and today I'm going to show you something that I've decided to go ahead and give a try. I'm not really certain how well it's going to work, but we're going to give it a shot and see. Before I go into that, I do just want to show you what came in the mail today. I got a catalog, a winter catalog from Dover Publications for all their coloring books, and it has an order form in the middle. I had no idea that they did this. So I'm assuming that if you request a catalog from them, that they will send you one out and you can just kind of keep it and browse through everything that they have and look at their winter sales. I was really happy with this. There's things in here that I kind of like having it in a catalog form just to flip through whenever I'm, you know, like waiting on hold on the phone or something. So if anybody's interested, this is www.doverpublications.com. You just go to their website, and I assume that you just give them your address and request one of these catalogs, and they'll send it out to you. So this was pretty cool. So earlier in the week, I made a post on the Facebook group and said that I had placed a really small Amazon order because I had heard that something may work. And I was curious because you guys who know me know that I kind of have to try things because that's just how I am. So what we're going to do today is we're going to try a new method for putting Gamsol on your paper. And what I ordered was this, okay? This is, I'm going to zoom in so you can see. This is a Copic sketch marker, and this is what differentiates it from all the other Copic sketch markers. There's no color, there's no nothing, and that's because I ordered this Copic completely empty. There was nothing in it. It came brand new, no ink, no blender, no nothing. It was just empty. So what I did was, and before you guys like go start getting stuff and trying this, I want to tell you right now, I haven't tested this before, so I don't know how safe it is to actually put this in here. I don't know if it's a good idea. I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm being like the guinea pig. But what I did was, I got my my empty Copic, alright, and just for those of you who weren't certain, there's like a tweezer tool you can use, but you can just pull, very carefully, you pull the chisel tip out of the end, and this is how you refill it. So I went in the kitchen, and I found this, which is like a part of an old turkey baster that I had, and it just so happens that it fits down over this marker perfectly. And then I put just a few drops of Gamsol down inside here. And so my Copic marker is now filled with Gamsol. So I've effectively created a Gamsol marker. And I want to thank Laura Malone for the idea because it was her idea. I heard it from her. She says that she got it from another group on Facebook that she is a member of. But I'd never heard it before. So I told her that if this works, she's going to get all the credit. And she rightfully should. So I figured what we would do is color a little bit of this nameplate page here in this picture by Deborah Muller's Misfit Creepy Cute Girls. I can't talk. So I figured we would do it in this book because as far as I know, these are printed on Create Space paper, which a lot of people have issues with trying to get the color to go all the way down in. So that's why I chose this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, and I'm even going to use Prismacolors, guys. Prismacolors and Create Space are typically not friends, but we're going to try it. I'm just going to color a little bit here, and I'm going to try to see how well the Gamsol marker works. I've already tried it, and it did work pretty well on some different pencils, and I wanted to try it with Prismacolor. So we are checking this out together. We'll see if it works. Now there are a couple downsides to this. And the first one is that the empty Copic marker costs just about the same amount as a full one. I think it was about $6. I'll put links to it in the description below if this is something that you decide you would like to try for yourself. You can use Gamsol if you want. You can use the Mona Lisa Odorless Mineral Spirits. I actually put Gamsol in mine. I have several bottles of this stuff, just different brands that I have laying around. And so I just kind of want to use up what I already have, which is why I did it that way. So that was, let's see, that was lavender. Now I'm using grayed lavender to go over her face. Now, if you guys watched my series on how to layer and blend Prismacolors, then you might remember how and when to use the different blending methods. So for a blender pencil, you want to build up several layers first, and that's what helps your blender pencil work the best. For Gamsol, if you're going to use Gamsol, you don't need a whole lot of layers. You can use just a little bit of color, and the Gamsol will blend it out nicely. In fact, the more pigment that you have down, the more layers of pencil that you put down on your paper, the less Gamsol you want to use. Because what it does is it breaks up the pigment. It kind of breaks up that binder and liquefies the entire thing. So if you use too much, what happens is you end up picking up more pigment instead of actually blending it together. Okay, so I have the purple down on her face, and let me bring this up to you so that you can see what I'm talking about as far as the paper goes. And I'm hoping that you guys are going to be able to see this. You see all the white space that's left behind? That's the paper. That's the tooth of the paper. And with the Prismacolors, which are the really soft pencils, it's really tough to get these pencils down into the tooth of that paper. Now, a lot of people don't mind that look, and they think that's fine. And like I said, a lot of my favorite artists do some really cute images on the Create Space paper. So it's my goal to try to find ways that make it easy and convenient for me to use this paper without really having to struggle or use 7,000 layers or try to burnish with my pencils and use up all my pencil. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go ahead and try this empty Copic sketch. Now this is where I've tried it before. You can see that the tip is greenish. So what you want to do before you dive in, and after every color that you do, you just want to take a piece of scrap paper and just kind of make sure that there's no color. See how it's coming out clear even though the tip is green? It's just stained, so it's not going to hurt anything. Gamsol is a wet media, so I'm going to put my sheet behind my page. And I'm just going to start with the very tip, and I'm going to start blending it out. We're going to see if it actually does anything. Now, the thing with Gamsol is that it is kind of oily. It's an oil, so it does like have a gray tint to it. But the thing is that once it dries, it's completely invisible, which is what makes it different from things like Vaseline or baby oil. You can use those and they will blend, but they will leave like a greasy area behind. Even if you only use a tiny little bit, it does still leave some behind and you won't be able to get rid of it. So, and if you're seeing green, it's because of the green back here. But you won't see it once it dries. So basically this is like having a paintbrush full of Gamsol at my disposal without having to get Gamsol out. It's just right in the marker. And I do want to go over these little spots. And another thing about Gamsol too, guys, is that if you're using a blender pencil with it, it'll blend it out, but you're also adding more layers on top of your image. And while that's not always a bad thing, what happens is you get to a point where you've maxed out your layers. The tooth of the paper is full and you can't add anymore. And that won't happen with the Gamsol. The Gamsol does not do that. As a matter of fact, sometimes it can actually allow you to add more layers if you use it properly, if you're using only a small amount when you should be. So let's let this dry for a moment, and while we're waiting for that, I'm going to find a different color. Go ahead and do her lips. This image is just so cute. The little, it's like, I don't know, it's like a snake lady. I like it. This whole book is different. That's why I really, really do enjoy it. Okay, the top lip is usually going to be darker than the bottom because the light reflects more off the bottom. Now, so you guys can see once again that even though I've tried to use a heavier pressure on that top lip, it's hard to get that color all the way down into the tooth of the paper. And that's just because of the way the paper's made. It doesn't have anything to do with my pencil. I could sharpen it. It would probably get down in there a little bit better. But all in all, there's no way to completely get it down in there. Which is why so many people complain about the Create Space paper. Alright, so what I'm doing is cleaning off the tip of my marker. See where I've got that little purple streak right here? That's just from cleaning it off like this. Just want to make sure you've got all the color out. And then once again, I'm going to come back in just with the very tip of my marker. And I'm using the brush nib, which is wonderful, by the way. I can see why so many people are so in love with the Copic brush nibs. It is wonderful. I'm just very gently blending these colors out, blending this one color out. All right, so let's clean that off. See all the color that comes off? And that's the Gamsol picking the color up. And you do need to clean this marker after every single color. Alright, so now while we're waiting on everything else to finish drying, I'm going to go ahead and do the eyes. So I'm going to use, let's see, chartreuse, spring green, and dark green. I'm just grabbing colors at random here, guys. That's all I'm doing. You know, I want her to be purple and green. So that's what I'm grabbing. I'm just going to put some of this green right in the center. I was so excited. I am so excited that this actually is this easy. Now the pain part is getting the marker filled with the Gamsol. But I was lucky enough, like I said, to find that little part of a baster that I bought for my turkey. And it fits perfectly. Now, of course, I'll never go back and use it for food again. But it does work nicely. You could also use like a children's medicine dropper syringe, you know, something like that. So I'm putting some dark green in there. And one more time with the chartreuse. Okay. And now I'm going to come in with my marker. Make sure it's clean first. I'm getting rid of some of that color because I'm going to come back over the black part where I got color over it and take it away. See how there's like a cloud over the pupil? The Gamsol can actually take most of that off. Just like that. No more cloudy pupil. And I like this because this marker gives me a whole lot of control. More than I would have, I think, even, I mean, I'd probably get more control with like a detail paintbrush, but it's so hard to really control how much Gamsol that you're putting down with a paintbrush. I struggle with it. I just think this marker makes it easier. So, disclaimer, guys, while I like this technique and while I think it works very well, I do just want to point out to you that Gamsol is a flammable substance. It is not something that you should be using if you have certain breathing conditions or if you are incredibly sensitive to the effects of chemicals and whatnot. You want to be careful not to get it all over your hands. When I was filling my marker up, I actually went into the kitchen over the kitchen sink and put on latex gloves, the great big yellow kitchen gloves that you use if you have sensitive hands. So I put those on first, and I was really careful. I only added a few drops of the Gamsol at a time, and then I put the top of the chisel tip back in. And just so you can see, the chisel tip will also work if you feel like you're more comfortable with that tip. you can also use it. Now, another word of advice, please don't do this in a Copic marker that has ever had alcohol or anything else at all in it. You want a fresh, empty Copic marker. You need to buy the marker empty. I don't know what kind of reaction Gamsol and alcohol would have, but I assume it would not be pleasant. It may be poisonous, it may burn your skin, it may cause an explosion. So do not, under any circumstances, mix Gamsol in a marker that has ever had ink in it. You need a brand new marker. And no, washing it out isn't good enough. You need to go buy a brand new marker if you want to do this. So there's that. Now that we're finished with this, her face is pretty well dry. So let me show that to you again. Let me bring it up closer to the camera. Now, do you see how all the white spaces, all those little white specks that I had before have all disappeared? That is the beauty of using the Gamsol on this. Now, something else that you can do if you'd like, you are more than welcome to just buy a Copic colorless blender. And that will also do this to a degree. But I don't think it works as well as Gamsol. And I think that the colorless blender smells worse than Gamsol, to be completely honest, which is why I didn't go that route. I might try it, but another thing that I want you to remember as far as that goes also is that if you're going to use alcohol, it can cause your color to bleed through the page. Now see, even with the Gamsol, because the paper's kind of thin, you can see the color through the page, and that's why I have this here. I have this here because you see how it's wet in the middle? It's kind of catching. In case this pushes the color through or the Gamsol goes through, it's not going to get on the page behind it. So, is it a miracle? I mean, it's not miraculous or anything, but I'm going to tell you what, it makes my life easier because there is so much art that I love. There is just so much of this. This book is adorable. This has to be one of my favorite coloring books of all time, just because of the theme and the way it is. I absolutely love it. But I struggle with using Prismacolor. I struggle with using most pencils on the paper. A lot of people will buy PDFs of these books, or they will scan and copy these books so that they can color on their own paper. I like to color in the book. I like to have the book all together kind of as a reminder. I'll sign when I'm done so I can see when I finished it. And I think that this idea, this simple Copic marker that's empty, I think it's great. I think that I'm not going to have nearly as much trouble coloring in Create Space paper anymore. So the last time, I'm just going to go ahead and clear it all off and make sure it's clean. And once it starts to go dry on you, all you have to do again, as I'll show you, you pull out the chisel tip. It's really easy to pull it out. Pull out the chisel tip, add your fluid down in this part, your Gamsol, and it doesn't take much. Seriously, like a syringe full is all I put in here at a time. And then put it back together. Just like that. Make sure it's in there all the way. And there you go. Here's your portable Gamsol. You don't have to worry about it spilling in your bag. You don't have to worry about accidentally leaving the lid open on the bottle and knocking it over. You don't have to worry about your pets getting into it. You don't have to worry about your kids if you keep it put up. Of course, kids are curious about markers, so keep it put up. You may want to take a Sharpie if you have other Copics. Now, I don't, so I'll know what this is. But you may want to take a Sharpie and, put like skulls and crossbones and XXXX and all that stuff on there, so you know that that's Gamsol. But like I said, I think it's a great alternative, and I hope you guys agree. All right, well, that is all I wanted to show you today. This was my little surprise and my little Amazon order that I placed last week because I just wanted to test it out. So special thanks to Laura Malone for bringing this to my attention. I really, really do appreciate it because I do think it's a game changer for me. Whether or not it's actually going to be a game changer for you is another story. I know a lot of people are just kind of, not fans of the paper, and that's fine. I just want a way to get the white space to go away. Sorry, I dropped my pencil on the floor. I just wanted the white space to go away. So I'm really, really happy that this is a good way to do it, and it's really convenient. like I said, you do have to fill it, but it could be worse. So, alright, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up so that more people will be able to find it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so, and then hit the little bell so you will know when I put up a new video for you to watch. Aside from that, thank you so much for tuning in today and watching this. You'll find all the links to all the things that I used, excuse me, downstairs in the description box. Please be aware that I am an Amazon affiliate, so I get a small commission for every purchase that you make through those links. You can use it or you don't have to use it. It's up to you guys. But it will all be down there if you're curious. Thank you for watching, and happy coloring.